They have the right to do a lot of things that people don't even know about.
We can't know for sure, but what the president appears to have been referring to are his Presidential Emergency Action Documents, often referred to as PEDs. Former Senator Gary Hart.
Even though I've had security clearances for the better part of 50 years and been in and out of national security matters during that half century, I had never heard of these secret powers.
Do you know what they are now that you've heard of them?
Only vaguely, due to research done at the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University Law School. What these secret powers are, apparently, based on the research, is suspension of the Constitution, basically. And that's what's worrying, particularly on the eve of a national election.
These are essentially presidential orders that are drafted in anticipation of a range of hypothetical worst-case scenarios.
The Brennan Center research that Senator Hart referred to has been spearheaded by Elizabeth Goitein, the co-director of its national security program and a contributing writer at The Atlantic. Several times during his administration, President Trump has made allusions to secret powers that he has that we don't know about. Is he making that up?
Well, not exactly. And what's alarming about that is that no one really knows what the limits of those claimed authorities might be, because they are often developed and kept in secret.
Goitein says what little we do know about PEDs comes from references to them in other documents, some of which are now declassified.
They originated in the Eisenhower administration as part of an effort to try to plan for a potential Soviet nuclear attack. But since then, they've expanded to address other types of emergencies as well. No presidential emergency action document has ever been released or even leaked. Not even Congress has access to them, which is really pretty extraordinary when you consider that even the most highly classified, covert military and intelligence operations have to be reported to at least 8 members of Congress, the Gang of 8.
You're saying they are not consulting with Congress.
Exactly. Congress is not aware of what's in these documents, and from public sources, we know that at least in the past, these documents have purported to do things that are not permitted by the Constitution. Things like martial law and the suspension of habeas corpus and the roundup and detention of people not suspected of any crime.
The reason these documents are secret is for 11 administrations, people in power did not want to frighten the American people or to demonstrate what might happen to their constitutional rights and liberties.
And keep going. And you're saying what they're for?
Well, every administration, including Democratic administrations, has revised and updated these powers. And I started contacting friends of mine of both parties who had been in senior positions. And I got 2 responses, or one response, which is, I never heard of these powers. And these are people in senior cabinet positions, or I got no response at all. And it was the no response at all from people I knew that began to worry me, because there not only is secrecy around these powers, there is a mystery around the secrecy.
Tell me what you know about these PEDs.
I think I know as much about the PEDs as any other American citizen, which is almost nothing at all.
David Cole is National Legal Director of the American Civil Liberties Union, and he's concerned about the vast array of presidential emergency powers that we know about. Under the National Emergencies Act of 1976 alone, the president can declare a national emergency just by signing a proclamation.
We've got a president who, in his first week in office, essentially declared an emergency to ban Muslims from coming into the country. More recently declared a widely understood to be a fake emergency in order to build a border wall when Congress told him they would not give him the funds to create a border wall. And most recently has declared that he may need to delay the election, which would be an emergency authority that doesn't even exist. So I think you have to be very concerned.
Which brings us back to those mysterious presidential emergency action documents.